Picture this. You're standing in your kitchen feeling confident because you've just chosen a food you've always been told is healthy. You believe you're protecting your body, strengthening your muscles, and giving yourself the best chance to stay independent in your golden years. But then, without warning, your legs buckle as you try to climb the stairs. Your grip weakens when you reach for a glass of water. Suddenly, your body doesn't respond the way it used to, and the strength you once took for granted slips away. For many seniors, this frightening moment isn't caused by aging alone. It's tied to foods they've trusted for years. Here's the shocking truth. Some so-called healthy foods actually accelerate muscle weakness in older adults. These foods are often praised in magazines promoted by diet companies and even recommended casually by friends. But when you look deeper into their effects on the aging body, you realize they quietly chip away at the very strength you're trying to preserve. As a nutrition expert, I've seen countless seniors blindsided by these hidden dangers, thinking they were making smart choices, when in reality, they were sabotaging their own muscles. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Today I'm going to walk you through 9 everyday foods. Foods many of you likely eat right now that silently drain muscle strength. And I'll share the real stories of seniors who trusted these foods only to face sudden weakness, fatigue, and frustration. Let's begin with the first food on our list, the healthy snack hiding in your fridge that may already be eroding your muscle power. Let's begin with something almost every senior keeps in their fridge: yogurt. For decades, low-fat or fat-free yogurt has been marketed as the ultimate health snack, light, clean, and gut-friendly. But here's the surprising truth. Many of these so-called healthy yogurts are actually loaded with added sugar and stripped of the very nutrients your muscles desperately need after 60. You see, as the body ages, the efficiency of protein metabolism declines. A younger person might be able to repair muscle tissue with just a modest amount of protein, but once you're over 60, your muscles require higher quality, more easily digestible protein to maintain strength. That's why sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass, accelerates in seniors who don't meet those needs. The mainstream medical fact is this: studies show that older adults need more protein, not less, to prevent muscle decline. Yet flavored yogurts often contain just a fraction of the protein found in plain Greek yogurt, while packing in as much sugar as a small soda. Let me share a patient's story. Mrs. Helen, a 72-year-old retired teacher, prided herself on eating healthy. Every morning she enjoyed a fruit-flavored, low-fat yogurt, believing it was helping her digestion and bones. Over time, however, she noticed her legs tiring quickly during her daily walks, and she struggled to lift groceries without pain. Her doctor initially blamed normal aging, but when we reviewed her diet, the pattern was clear. She was getting almost 18 grams of sugar from each yogurt cup, while barely reaching 5 grams of protein. Instead of supporting her muscles, her breakfast was spiking her blood sugar, promoting insulin resistance, and leaving her body without the raw material to repair muscle tissue. When Helen switched to unsweetened Greek yogurt and paired it with nuts and berries, she noticed gradual improvement. Her strength returned and her energy stabilized. Here's a lesser-known fact. Excess sugar, particularly from hidden sources like flavored yogurt, not only feeds fat storage but also increases glycation end products in the body. These compounds stiffen tissues and impair muscle fibers' ability to contract effectively. It's like coating the gears of a machine with sticky syrup. Movement becomes slower and weaker. For seniors, this biochemical reality means faster muscle fatigue and greater fall risk. So while yogurt can indeed be a healthy option, the kind you choose matters enormously. Plain high-protein, low-sugar yogurt supports muscle repair. The flavored low-fat versions many seniors grab for convenience, those can quietly drain your strength, leaving you weaker with every spoonful. And if that everyday breakfast food shocked you, wait until you hear about the wholesome bread. Many of us grew up on bread that can actually block the very minerals your muscles need to stay strong. Now let's move to another food that often carries the healthy label: whole wheat bread. Seniors are told to replace white bread with whole grains for better fiber, heart health, and digestion. But here's the problem. Whole wheat bread, while higher in fiber, contains compounds that can interfere with your body's ability to absorb the minerals your muscles depend on. The mainstream medical fact is this: as we age, our bodies naturally become less efficient at absorbing essential nutrients like calcium, magnesium, and zinc. These minerals are critical for muscle contraction, repair, and nerve communication. When seniors don't absorb enough, their muscles weaken faster, increasing the likelihood of falls and fractures. Whole wheat bread is rich in phytic acid, a natural compound that binds to these very minerals and prevents them from being absorbed. So even if you're eating a diet that seems rich in nutrients, phytic acid can make those nutrients pass right through your system unused. Let me tell you about Mr. Raymond, a 66-year-old retired carpenter. He switched from white bread to whole wheat after his doctor recommended more fiber. At first he was proud of the change. He thought he was protecting his heart and digestion. But after several months, Raymond began to experience nagging leg cramps at night, difficulty climbing stairs, and a troubling weakness in his grip. When we looked deeper into his lab results, his magnesium and zinc levels were borderline low. The irony: his diet contained plenty of these minerals, but the phytic acid in his daily bread was blocking their absorption. Once he swapped most of his bread intake for sprouted grain bread and added mineral-rich foods like pumpkin seeds and spinach, his strength gradually returned and the cramps eased. Here's the lesser-known fact. Phytic acid doesn't just reduce mineral absorption, it also disrupts the gut microbiome balance in ways that impair protein digestion. For seniors already struggling with reduced stomach acid and enzyme production, this creates a double burden: fewer minerals and less efficient use of dietary protein. Over time, this means weaker muscles and slower recovery after even minor physical effort. So yes, whole grains can offer benefits, but the form matters. Sprouted grains, sourdough, or fermented breads neutralize much of the phytic acid, making minerals more available. But the standard packaged whole wheat loaf many seniors reach for can quietly undermine strength with every slice. And if you think bread is harmless, the next healthy item will shock you even more, because it's something sweet, colorful, and poured into glasses with the promise of natural vitality: fruit juice. Now let's turn to something that almost every senior has been told is good for you: fruit juice. The labels proudly boast 100% natural, no added sugar, and vitamin-rich. It seems like a safe choice, right? But the truth is, fruit juice can quietly rob your muscles of strength and accelerate decline in ways most seniors never imagine. Here's the mainstream medical fact: as you age, your body's ability to regulate blood sugar weakens. Insulin sensitivity decreases, meaning that your cells don't respond as well to insulin's call to absorb glucose from your bloodstream. That leaves higher levels of sugar circulating, damaging nerves, blood vessels, and muscles. Even a glass of pure orange juice can contain as much sugar as a can of soda without the protective fiber found in whole fruit. For seniors, these blood sugar spikes can worsen sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. Let me share a patient's story. Mrs. Alvarez, a 69-year-old grandmother, believed she was doing the right thing by drinking 2 glasses of apple juice every morning. She thought the vitamins would give her energy and keep her strong. But over the course of a year, she began noticing alarming changes. Her arms felt weaker when carrying groceries. She grew fatigued halfway through her daily walks, and she even stumbled on her porch steps one evening. Her blood tests revealed elevated fasting glucose and early insulin resistance. More importantly, her muscle mass had decreased significantly compared to the year before. Once she replaced her juice habit with whole fruits, apples paired with a handful of nuts, her energy began to stabilize, and she regained some of her strength within months. Here's the lesser-known fact. Fruit juice doesn't just spike blood sugar, it also increases the production of advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These compounds damage muscle proteins by making them stiff and less functional, almost like rust forming on iron. For seniors, that means slower reflexes, weaker contractions, and a higher risk of falls. Worse, regular juice consumption can subtly erode muscle mitochondria, the tiny energy factories inside your cells, leading to chronic fatigue and loss of endurance. So what seems like a natural health booster can actually be a silent thief of vitality. Whole fruit, with its fiber and slower release of sugars, protects muscles far better than juice ever could. For seniors who want to preserve strength, swapping juice for water, herbal tea, or a small piece of fruit with protein is a far safer choice. And if you think fruit juice is surprising, wait until you hear about a food that's often praised as a health superstar, but when overused can interfere with your hormones and quietly weaken your muscles. That food is soy. Now we come to a food that has been at the center of health debates for decades: soy. Soy milk, tofu, soy protein powders, and even soy-based snacks are often praised as heart-healthy and cholesterol-lowering. Many seniors switch to soy thinking it's a safer alternative to meat or dairy. But here's the caution you need to hear: excessive soy can actually interfere with your muscle strength by disrupting the delicate hormonal balance that keeps muscles strong. Here's the mainstream medical fact: as you age, your natural hormone levels decline. Testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormone all play critical roles in preserving muscle tissue. When these levels drop, sarcopenia progresses faster, leading to frailty and loss of independence. For men, lower testosterone means weaker muscle fibers and slower recovery. For women, declining estrogen accelerates bone and muscle loss. Maintaining balance is key. Now here's where soy becomes tricky. Soy is rich in phytoestrogens, plant compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. While a moderate amount of soy can be beneficial for bone and heart health, too much can disrupt hormone signaling. This effect is subtle but powerful in men. Excess soy can further lower testosterone, while in women it can confuse estrogen receptors and blunt the muscle-preserving effects of protein. Let me tell you about Mr. Jenkins, a 70-year-old retired bus driver. After a scare with high cholesterol, he replaced most of his meals with soy-based products: soy milk for breakfast, soy burgers for lunch, and tofu stir-fries for dinner. At first, he felt proud of his discipline, but within months he began noticing his arms thinning, his legs tiring quickly, and his once steady hands trembling when he lifted heavy objects. His lab results showed not only declining testosterone, but also elevated markers of muscle breakdown. When he reduced his soy intake and balanced his meals with eggs, fish, and beans, his strength began to return and his energy improved noticeably. Here's the lesser-known fact: soy also contains trypsin inhibitors, compounds that reduce protein digestion. That means even if you think you're getting enough protein, your body may not be able to fully use it to rebuild muscle tissue. For seniors already struggling with diminished digestive efficiency, this hidden barrier can make muscle loss accelerate even faster. The bottom line is not that soy is bad, but that relying too heavily on it, especially processed soy products, can quietly erode muscle resilience. A safer approach is moderation. Enjoy tofu or edamame occasionally, but diversify your protein sources to include lean meats, dairy, legumes, and nuts. And if soy's hormonal effects surprised you, wait until we move on to another so-called energy booster. Many seniors rely on this quick snack thinking it fuels their bodies, but in truth, it leaves muscles weaker and more fatigued. Energy bars. Let's talk about energy bars, the brightly packaged snacks often stacked by the checkout counter or marketed as convenient fuel for busy, health-conscious people. Seniors are often drawn to them because the labels promise protein, fiber, and natural ingredients. But here's the harsh reality: most energy bars are glorified candy bars. And instead of building strength, they quietly sap it. Here's the mainstream medical fact: muscle tissue in older adults is far more sensitive to diet composition. To repair and maintain strength, seniors need consistent protein intake and steady blood sugar control. Spikes and crashes in glucose accelerate muscle breakdown and leave you feeling weaker over time. Unfortunately, the majority of energy bars are packed with sugar syrups and refined carbs. Some contain as much sugar as a slice of cake, hardly the kind of fuel your aging muscles need. Take the story of Mrs. Thompson, a 74-year-old widow who prided herself on staying active. She began eating a popular high-energy bar every afternoon to fight off fatigue before her evening walk. But instead of gaining stamina, she noticed her legs wobbling after just a few blocks, and her arms felt like lead when carrying groceries. Her doctor discovered she was experiencing frequent blood sugar crashes. The culprit: her bar contained 22 grams of sugar paired with processed soy protein that her body struggled to digest. Once she switched to a simple snack of boiled eggs with carrot sticks, her afternoon crashes disappeared and she regained her walking strength within weeks. Here's the lesser-known fact: many energy bars also contain additives like sugar alcohols and isolated fibers that can disrupt the gut microbiome. When the gut lining becomes inflamed, it interferes with nutrient absorption, including the amino acids critical for muscle repair. Over time, this low-grade inflammation accelerates sarcopenia and drains endurance. What's worse, some bars rely on processed vegetable oils that increase oxidative stress in muscles, leaving them more vulnerable to damage. The irony is that seniors who choose energy bars often believe they're taking a shortcut to better health, when in reality they're sabotaging their strength. Real energy doesn't come from a wrapper. It comes from whole, nutrient-dense foods that release energy slowly and supply the building blocks for muscle resilience. So, if you've ever reached for an energy bar thinking it will give you a boost, take a closer look at that label. It may be slowly stealing your strength. And if you thought sugar bombs disguised as health food were bad, wait until you hear about the next everyday habit: drinking too much caffeine. It may feel like a pick-me-up, but in reality it drains the very minerals your muscles can't live without. Now let's look at something many seniors can't imagine: starting their day without coffee or tea. A warm cup can feel like a lifeline, offering alertness and comfort. Moderate caffeine has its place, but here's what most seniors don't realize: too much caffeine, whether from coffee, green tea, or even energy drinks, can actually drain vital minerals from your body, slowly weakening your muscles. The mainstream medical fact is this: muscles rely heavily on calcium and magnesium to contract and relax properly. Without enough of these minerals, cramps, spasms, and weakness set in. Aging already reduces your body's ability to retain and absorb minerals. Caffeine adds another blow because it increases urinary excretion of calcium and magnesium. For a younger adult, this loss may not matter much. But for a senior whose reserves are lower, every extra cup can worsen muscle decline. Take the case of Mr. Collins, a 68-year-old retired engineer. He proudly declared himself a coffee lover, often drinking 4 to 5 cups per day. Over time, he noticed nagging muscle twitches in his calves and aching weakness in his hands and restless nights of poor sleep. When we tested his mineral levels, both calcium and magnesium were at the low end of normal. His caffeine intake was literally flushing away the very minerals his muscles needed to stay strong. After reducing his coffee to 2 cups daily and adding more mineral-rich foods like spinach, almonds, and dairy, the cramps diminished his grip, strength improved, and he began sleeping more soundly. Here's the lesser-known fact: high caffeine intake also elevates cortisol, the body's stress hormone. Elevated cortisol not only weakens bones but also encourages muscle breakdown for energy. This catabolic effect can be subtle but devastating over time, particularly for seniors already battling sarcopenia. And when caffeine disrupts sleep quality, a common complaint in older adults, it robs your muscles of their most important recovery window. The takeaway isn't that seniors should quit coffee or tea entirely. In fact, a single cup of coffee or a moderate serving of green tea can improve alertness and even support circulation. But relying on multiple cups a day, or worse, reaching for energy drinks, creates a cycle of mineral depletion, hormone imbalance, and poor sleep, all of which sap muscle resilience. So if you've been leaning on caffeine for energy, remember that every extra cup may be draining your reserves. And if caffeine's hidden danger surprised you, wait until you see how something as innocent as a salad dressing can quietly strip your body of the fats it desperately needs to preserve muscle strength. Now, let's talk about salads. On the surface, they seem like the perfect health choice: fresh greens, colorful vegetables, maybe even some lean protein. Seniors often turn to salads as a safe meal to control weight and support heart health. But here's the hidden danger: it's not the vegetables themselves, it's the dressing that many people choose. Low-fat or fat-free dressings, often advertised as the healthiest option, can quietly undermine muscle strength. The mainstream medical fact is this: your body needs healthy fats to produce hormones like testosterone and estrogen, which play a vital role in maintaining muscle mass. Without enough fat, hormone production falters and muscle tissue declines faster. Seniors are already at risk of hormone-related muscle loss due to aging. Taking away dietary fats at the same time only accelerates the process. Consider the story of Mrs. Park, a 71-year-old retiree who wanted to lose weight after her doctor warned her about heart disease. She began eating salads for both lunch and dinner, always topped with fat-free dressings. At first, she felt lighter and proud of her choices. But within months, she noticed her arms weakening when she lifted her grandchildren, and she struggled with fatigue during daily chores. When we looked closer, we found her meals lacked the healthy fats needed for hormone function. After switching to olive oil and avocado-based dressings, her energy improved, her muscle tone stabilized, and she regained confidence in her daily activities. Here's the lesser-known fact: many fat-free dressings compensate for lost flavor by adding sugar, artificial thickeners, and preservatives. These ingredients not only spike blood sugar but also increase inflammation in muscle tissue, further accelerating weakness. In other words, what you thought was a light option may actually be a double hit, blocking essential fat while adding harmful compounds. The solution is simple: don't fear healthy fats. A drizzle of olive oil, a spoonful of avocado, or even a small amount of nuts can turn a salad into a true muscle-supporting meal. These fats help carry fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K into your body, nutrients critical for muscle and bone health. So the next time you prepare a salad, skip the fat-free dressing and embrace natural, wholesome fats. And if you think salad dressings are sneaky, just wait until you hear about the next item: fish that many seniors eat believing it's the healthiest choice yet. Certain types quietly load the body with toxins that can damage muscles from the inside. Fish has long been praised as one of the healthiest foods you can eat. Doctors recommend it for heart health, brain protection, and even longevity. And while much of that advice is true, not all fish are created equal. Some healthy fish quietly harbor high levels of mercury, a toxic heavy metal that can gradually erode your muscles, nerves, and overall vitality. The mainstream medical fact is this: mercury accumulates in the body over time. Seniors with slower kidney and liver function struggle to eliminate it efficiently. Even small exposures repeated over months or years can disrupt nerve signaling and damage muscle tissue. This is why organizations warn against frequent consumption of high-mercury fish, such as king mackerel, swordfish, shark, and certain types of tuna. For older adults already fighting muscle decline, mercury adds yet another silent enemy. Take the story of Mrs. Green, a 67-year-old retired nurse. She switched to eating tuna steaks and swordfish multiple times a week after her doctor advised more omega-3s for her heart. At first, she felt proud of her discipline, but soon she began experiencing muscle weakness, tremors in her hands, and overwhelming fatigue. Her doctor suspected neuropathy, but when her mercury levels were tested, they were alarmingly high. Once she cut out high-mercury fish and replaced them with safer options like salmon, sardines, and trout, her symptoms gradually eased and her energy returned. Here's the lesser-known fact. Mercury doesn't just affect nerves, it binds to sulfhydryl groups in proteins, essentially locking up the enzymes your muscles need to function. This microscopic disruption translates into very real weakness, shakiness, and reduced coordination. Over time, it can even make falls more likely. Seniors often blame these symptoms on aging when in fact the source is hiding in what they believe to be a healthy diet. The key isn't to avoid fish entirely, but to choose wisely. Low-mercury omega-3 rich options like salmon, anchovies, sardines, and trout provide the protective benefits without the toxic burden. Think of it as protecting your muscles from a poison that works slowly but surely if left unchecked. So the next time you're planning a fish dinner, remember that not all healthy choices are safe. And as shocking as these hidden dangers have been, it's just as important to know there are safe, nourishing alternatives you can lean on. That's exactly what we'll cover in the final section: practical swaps and protective foods that can keep your muscles strong for years to come. We've now walked through a list of foods that, while often praised as healthy, can silently erode your muscle strength. Yogurts loaded with sugar, whole wheat bread with hidden anti-nutrients, fruit juices that spike blood sugar, soy products that confuse your hormones, energy bars disguised as health snacks, caffeine overload that drains minerals, fat-free dressings that rob your body of healthy fats, and fish high in mercury, all of them have the power to chip away at the independence and vitality you deserve in your later years. But here's the encouraging truth. Knowledge changes everything. Aging naturally brings changes to your metabolism, hormone balance, and nutrient absorption. That means foods you tolerated well in your 30s or 40s can suddenly become problematic in your 60s and 70s. Understanding this shift allows you to take back control, making choices that protect rather than sabotage your muscle health. Let's recap with safe, powerful alternatives that can become your daily allies. Plain Greek yogurt or kefir. These provide high-quality protein and probiotics without the sugar overload, supporting both gut and muscle health. Pairing with nuts or seeds adds healthy fats and minerals. And sprouted or fermented grains. Choose sprouted bread or sourdough to reduce phytic acid, allowing minerals like magnesium and zinc to nourish your muscles. Whole fruits. Instead of juices, apples, berries, or pears eaten whole release sugar slowly and provide fiber to stabilize energy and protect muscles. Balanced protein sources. Moderate soy is fine, but mix it with eggs, fish, legumes, and lean meats to give your muscles diverse amino acids. Real snacks over processed bars, hard-boiled eggs. Hummus with vegetables or a handful of almonds gives steady energy without sugar crashes. Mindful caffeine use. 1 or 2 cups of coffee or tea daily is fine, but balance it with mineral-rich foods and plenty of water. Healthy fats and salads. Olive oil, avocado, nuts, or seeds enhance vitamin absorption and hormone production, strengthening your muscles. Low-mercury fish. Salmon, sardines, and trout provide omega-3s, safely keeping inflammation low and energy steady. Beyond food choices, remember some universal rules for safe consumption. Eat earlier in the day when your body processes nutrients more effectively. Pair carbohydrates with protein and fat to stabilize blood sugar, and never rely on packaged foods marketed as healthy without reading labels carefully. Most importantly, be gentle with yourself. If you've been eating these healthy traps for years, you're not alone. Many of my patients have walked the same path, and the good news is that it's never too late to change. Muscles remain adaptable well into your 70s and 80s. You can regain strength, stability, and confidence by making the right shifts today. So let this be your empowering takeaway. Aging does not mean surrendering to weakness. It means becoming wiser about what truly supports your body. By choosing whole, nourishing foods and avoiding the silent traps, you protect not just your muscles, but your independence, dignity, and joy of life. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep bringing you practical, life-changing tips for healthy aging. Stay strong, stay informed, and remember you have more power over your health than you think.